Do you want to find out how I went from a 17 stone plus, size 22-24, exercise avoider, exercise hater, to a healthy weight and somebody that actually loves exercise? Because if you think it's not possible, then stay tuned and find out how I managed it, because I'm going to talk about the 3 top tips that I found helped me, like I say, move from a non-exerciser to somebody that actually enjoys it. Here's the first thing I want to say. I did not force myself to spend hours sweating and getting all red-faced and in a gym, okay? And I certainly didn't force myself to do things I don't enjoy either. So let's just get that right out there first, okay? And now let's get into the 3 top tips. Firstly, right, we are sold this idea that if we want to lose weight, we've got to do cardio, we've got to get red-faced and sweaty in a gym, okay? That's what they tell us, whether it's doing running or spin classes or HIIT classes, all of these things. This is what we hear, you're going to lose weight, you've got to do these classes and you've got to get all sweaty. Now, I remember once going to one of these classes because I tried that, didn't work, but I did try it. And I remember being there and the instructor came over to me. And I was so red in the face and said, "Do you need to sit down? Are you quite all right?" I mean, how humiliating is that? I was so embarrassed. So this is the thing with these classes, right? If you hate it and it makes you feel miserable, it makes you feel embarrassed, you ain't gonna do it. So don't do it. Just don't do exercise you hate. And that's top tip number 1, right? Don't do things that you hate, because you don't do things that you hate, basically. The other thing is, when I was trying this out as a strategy, and I did try it for a while, I didn't keep doing it because I hated it, but I did try it for a while. Afterwards, I felt so exhausted. I'd do these classes afterwards, I'd feel so exhausted. I would literally come out of the class and head directly to the vending machine. Yeah, not only that, after I'd been to the vending machine, I would go home and I'd be so exhausted, I'd just sit on the sofa and veg all day. Okay, so if you don't enjoy them, I mean, if you love a spin class, go to a spin class, right? But if you just feel horrible the whole time you're there, reward yourself immediately afterwards with chocolate and then feel so exhausted for the next sort of 12 hours that you just sit on the sofa. This isn't the exercise for you. So top tip number 1, stop doing exercise you hate, just move on, okay? Top tip number 2, and I ain't going to get all sciencey on you because there are people that can talk about this with a lot more knowledge than me, but there is this thing called EAT and NEAT, right? EAT is exercise activity thermogenesis, basically the calories you burn or the energy you use when you are exercising, and then there's NEAT, which is the calories you burn and the energy you use when you are not exercising, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, right? So that's the 2 things, EAT and NEAT. Now, let's say you're awake for 12 hours of the day and you do 1 sweaty cardio session. Yeah, so you're awake 12 hours, you do 1 sweaty cardio session, it lasts an hour. But then the other 11 hours, you sit on the sofa and do Sweet Fanny Adams or watch Netflix because you're exhausted, because you've ruined yourself doing your hour of exercise. Yeah, you're going to burn some calories, the exercise bit, but you need the energy you expend through the whole other 11 hours of the day, which is like 90+% of your waking day, is going to be down here because you sat on the sofa exhausted, all right? There's all sorts of research, there's all sorts of evidence, and like I say, I'm not going to go and get all sciencey on you here, but basically, the evidence is saying that actually you're better off increasing your NEAT energy expenditure rather than doing an extra class. Because like say, if you do 3 classes a week and you do an hour each class, and then the other 11 hours of your waking day on those 3 days that you do your classes, you spend sat because you're exhausted, right? Or sat because you're sore. Yeah. If you then do 5 classes a week, that means you've now got 5 days a week where you sat after your class sore. Yeah, which means that yes, you're exercising for 5 days, 5 hours, but you've got the other 90% of every day where you're doing nout. And that's a massive impact. So look at increasing your NEAT activity, your non-exercise activity. Basically, it's the stuff that you do when you're pottering about, whether it's putting the washing on, whether it's walking from the car park to the shop, whether it's going up and down the stairs to the toilet, all right? All these little things this is it. This is the kicker, and this is what the evidence is showing. You're better off keeping overall active than just chucking yourself about for an hour 3 times a week. All right? There's all sorts of ways that you can increase your NEAT exercise. I mean, like little things like when you go to work, use the stairs instead of the lift. When you're at home, if you've got 2 toilets, an upstairs and a downstairs loo, yeah, if you're upstairs, go downstairs to use the loo. If you're downstairs, go upstairs to use the loo. My mum applies this principle, okay? Yeah, she only uses the upstairs loo when she's downstairs, yeah. Just gives her extra steps. It's an extra up and down the stairs. Maybe go to the supermarket and instead of looking for the space nearest the door, look for the space furthest away from the door and walk in, yeah? Walk to places instead of taking the car, walk to the shops. All of these little things you can do. Non-exercise activity. So that's your tip number 2, guys, okay? Look at ways that you can increase your non-exercise activity. Yeah, basically move around more, all right? Not doing things that you enjoy, just doing little pottery things that we have to do, okay? Third and finally, exercise comes in more forms than I can shake a stick at. You've got all the sort of sweaty stuff, your spin, your HIIT, your classes, your running, all that kind of thing. Then you've got the less sweaty things like maybe swimming or Pilates or Tai Chi, I don't know, karate, judo, all this kind of stuff. Oh, and then you've got like teamy things like ball games, I don't know, rounders, badminton, playing tennis, playing squash, all this kind of the games stuff. Things that we think about as either sport or exercise. Cycling, I don't think I said cycling, did I? All of that sort of stuff. Loads and loads of different forms of exercise. But exercise isn't limited to that. There are other things that are exercise, all right? Whether you are dancing, putting some music on in your house and dancing, whether you are digging the garden over, whether you are playing catch with your grandkids, yeah, all these kind of stuff, going out for a walk, walking the dog, it's all exercise. Stop having your blinkers on. Stop thinking that in order for it to count as exercise, it has to be done in a gym, it has to be done in a class, or you have to wear Lycra or trainers. You absolutely don't. Okay, you do not have to do that. And if you want to increase your non-exercise activity, if you want to increase that kind of stuff, guys, look for the things that you love to do. Look for activities that you love. If you love music and dancing, put some tunes on at home and dance around. Get yourself a little dance DVD and do that at your house, okay? Stop thinking you've got to don Lycra and trainers and go to a gym and do something you hate. Think about things that you love doing and do them, and just do them more. So that is your top tip number 3. Find the stuff that you love to do and just do more of it. So if this has been useful, guys, and you want some more hints and tips, then do join the free weight loss group, all right? It's great. There's all sorts in there. There's a guy called Alex who's a dietitian. He goes live on a morning. He gives you loads of hints and tips every day, most days. I think it's 6 days a week nowadays. It's great. But just go in there, have a little route round. You can get some free training. You can get to meet other people like you that are trying to do this, try to lose a bit of weight. You get all sorts of help and advice and support, and it's all free. And what have you got to lose? You know, you're not by yourself anymore. Give it a go. See you in there. Bye-bye.